Hey everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant-based diet going for yourself today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level, and to get with alkalinity, then you can generate some static electricity. Send me some love telepathically. Set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to great days. So this morning I'm going to talk a little bit on DNA and genetic modification and how they're programming people to have a very skewed understanding of DNA and genetics. How they're programming people with or programming misunderstanding of our own DNA into the people, okay? And also how you can come to understand more of your DNA, what it actually is, and how to heal your DNA up from the modifications and the distortion of it. Okay, so let's get right into it. The DNA. Okay, DNA is literally it translates to deoxyribonucleic acid, right? And this is like something we all have, and it pretty much decides our expression and our form. Okay, a little bit deeper. Now, what they're doing nowadays is they're modifying this. They're getting genetic information and they're pumping it out, and they're programming people with this information, and they're rewriting your genetic encoding through this process. You know, through the media for most of it. You know, and this is why it's called a program. So program, it means what has been written, basically. And then you add the prefix pro to gram, and gram translates to what has been written in I think it is in Israeli or Hebrew, my bad. Now, programming is rewriting something within you, within your organism, within your mind, okay? So what it is, it's if you're subjecting yourself to this programming, they're encoding you and they're rewriting your genetic information. Okay, now genetics is what decides our expression and our form and what we do throughout our life. So the encoding or the information in your genetics is what is making you express yourself the way you're expressing yourself, okay? And it's also what is deciding how you're growing as an organism. Genetics is what decided my eyes to be brown and my hair to be brown and my skin to be light, and so genetic information decides all of this. Okay, now through programming, through the media, they can rewrite your genetic encoding, so they can literally manipulate your expression and your form, but they're not going to go to extremities of doing this and turning people into a completely different person. They're only going to make it to where you're going to change what you're doing throughout your life. So let's say you're a certain way in your youth, and then you watch like TV for a few years straight, you know, before or prior never having watched TV at all. After watching that, you're going to change in a certain way. You're going to start doing things that you probably never done beforehand. And that's an example of them being able to rewrite your genetic encoding with the media. Okay, and all of the media, 95% of it is owned by BlackRock, which is an asset management corporation in New York, and they're pretty much in charge of doing this type of stuff because they're in with the global plantation. You know, they're in with treating the mass as cattle. Okay, now they're draconian, or whatever you want to call them. They're off leashes. They're manipulative, and they're very, very controlling, and they're here to drain the earth of its resources, and possibly flee back to their planet, okay, or their star systems, and build upon their empire, or whatever it may be. The story may be a little skewed, but what they also do is they write into you a misunderstanding of DNA in itself and genetics. Okay, so a lot of what science is researching when it comes to DNA and genetics is it's going off of logic, for one, because science is a logical thing most of the time, and whenever you get into DNA and genetics, there's a certain level you get to when it becomes completely illogical and irrational. So once you hit that level of understanding our DNA and our genetics, you can no longer use logic to understand it. And if you are, you're just going to keep getting trapped, and it's going to keep leading to misunderstandings. And misunderstandings of DNA and genetics leads to a disconnection from source. Okay, so if you have a misunderstanding of our DNA and our genetics, it leads to a disconnection to source. So science is one of these areas of the matrix, or areas that is pumping out false information. Okay, it's not giving us all that is true about it. They call 99% of DNA junk DNA, you know, and that's one of those misunderstandings. Okay, because none of the DNA is junk DNA. They just don't want you to know what is actually within that 99% of our DNA, because if we were to know, then we'd understand a whole lot more, and it would put us in connection with source. Okay, so they don't want you to understand. Instead, they just put it off, and they call it junk DNA, and then they put that out through the media, and then that starts to rewrite people's understandings or genetics, and then people start living accordingly to 99% of their DNA being quote-unquote junk DNA. But that's just one of their misunderstandings, or that's one of their deliberacies that they're using to disconnect us from source, so that we don't take back the power, you know. But what you can understand about it is that you can trust your intuition instead of following up with what the media is telling you, or maybe the crowd, or maybe the matrix. What it's telling you, don't always listen to. Okay, you have all of the truth inside of you already. You just got to realize it. You got to remember it. Okay, because what has happened is that we are in a state of amnesia, because we are it. We are God. We are omniscience in totality. But we forgot that we were gods and goddesses, or that we were God or omniscient. So now we have amnesia, and we don't remember all that there is, but it is all there, and all they can do is put us off from the truth, you know. So what you got to do to dissolve away the misunderstanding of our own DNA and our genetics, you got to come to trust yourself, trust the universe, instead of subjecting the matrix and its media to yourself. You know, get out into nature more often, because nature is a catalyst for allowing you to renew your DNA. and this is getting into the distortion of DNA, and distortion of DNA or genetics comes with genetic modification as well, which is easily attained or completed through their programming. So if all you got to do is sit in front of a TV and they're able to genetically modify you, you know, but it's not just with the media, it's with the foods too. They're genetically modifying foods, and that's another way that they're attacking your genetic level, or maybe distorting it, because if they're able to distort it, it's going to damage you, and it's going to cause further disconnection to source, and it's going to lead you to experiential distortion, which is damaging to our organism. Okay, so there comes this misunderstanding. We are misunderstanding the DNA, because the scientific movement is projecting out false information, you know, and one example is junk DNA. There's no junk DNA. It's just that they don't want us to know the information of what is in the 99%. Rather, they're only allowing us to quote unquote know what is in that 1%, you know, and then the rest is said to be thrown away, but it's not thrown away at all. DNA is it's the biological internetworking. Basically, you're able to travel your own DNA, and you can do this during your sleep. So whenever you're sleeping, whenever you're astral traveling or traveling the ether, you are traveling your genetic or your DNA, because DNA it spans all throughout the universe. Okay, genetics spans all throughout the universe, and if you were able to open up the 99% and understand it fluently and with clarity, you would understand more of what is throughout the universe. And this is one of the reasons that they don't tell you the truth about it, and they call it junk DNA. And that is also getting in connection with source, allowing yourself to start traveling the universe once again. Is being in connection with source, being spiritual, being in connection with spirit. Okay, now you can cleanse yourself by you can fast, you know, and this can lead to less distortion of the DNA, because they're using food to distort your DNA, and this is also how they're turning us or mutating us into chimera-like beings. And I made a video on this yesterday. Chimeras being produced throughout the mass, you know, and then these chimeras, they're self-destructive. So they're pumping out this self-destruction by distorting our DNA, and they are amassing that self-destruction. And that self-destruction can lead to civil war, it can lead to global war, it can lead to these types of things, and then they can just come and clean it up as that is going on, because then they have the authority to do so, you know, and there's a lot when it comes to cleaning it up. You know, they can do whatever they want to the mass people if they're already far gone, you know, into these overly mutated states. Okay, now you can cleanse the DNA very easily, once again, by fasting. Okay, or you can grow your own foods, or at least try and get healthier, cleaner foods. Okay, because a lot of the conventionally grown foods have chemicals in them and are genetically modified, meaning they're holding genetic information that is going to distort your genetics and your DNA, which is going to further turn you cancerous within yourself. And cancer is basically self-destruction. Okay, it pretty much is self-destruction. So you got to really try and get better food for yourself. Get cleaner food. Even the organic food is not taken care of as much as we need it to be in order to cleanse our self from the DNA distortion. You know, So the best option would be to plant your own, which I have not been able to do, but I'm going to get to this one day, okay? But I most definitely been seeing the darker sides of this, okay? And this is just the catalyst for getting me to do what is really needed, okay? Now, eat cleaner foods. You can clean the DNA like this. You can go through fasting. You can get some type of shamanistic help to clean the DNA. You can do these types of things, okay? And in that you can cleanse the DNA, but there's so much of this distortion going on that it's making it very hard to avoid it, you know. So the matrix is definitely on the move when it comes to this type of stuff, you know. It's kind of like a chemical attack or a genetic attack, a genetic warfare in a way, very much a genetic warfare, frequency warfare as well. And the conventionally grown foods, they use various different chemicals to grow these foods, right? And I did a video on atrazine. Atrazine is one of the most common herbicides or pesticides that is used on conventionally grown food or on food. And what atrazine has been proven to do is castrate people, okay? Chemically castrate people, because they prove that atrazine turns testosterone into estrogen, okay? And estrogen is needed for the development of a female reproductive system, okay? Now that pretty much means that the atrazine is diminishing away the male's testosterone and turning it into estrogen, and this is a castration, okay? So this is another example of genetic attack or genetic war or attacking us or distorting our DNA, you know, because that's exactly what it is. It's like this, but they're distorting it. They're changing us. They're changing our form. They're taking our testosterone and they're changing it into estrogen, you know. And this is why you see so many people or so many dudes just becoming very, very feminine nowadays, you know. And then they take up the people who are willing to be projected out to the media and make them some sort of icon to follow within the footsteps of that castration, you know, so that it won't be such of a problem if it ever gets out into people's mind, which is the truth, okay? So misunderstanding of DNA, it leads to a disconnection of source, okay? So if you are misunderstanding what your DNA truly is, it disconnects you from source. So when you really understand and when you are really living in the truth of what your DNA is and your genetics, you can then be in connection with source, and you can find yourself doing all these supernatural things that come with having a whole and healthy genetic structure or DNA, you know. And you can do that. You can understand your own DNA more by getting out into nature, doing something like this, avoiding media as much as possible, fasting, okay? Because fasting is an excellent way of getting in connection with source. Once again, even lucid dreaming, dreaming lucidly or lucid dreaming and being able to consciously astral project can also open you up to the current state of your DNA, and from there, as you understand the current state of your DNA, you can understand how it's been distorted and how to get it back, you know, to a more cleansed state, you know, and then you can do the work from there. But it's going to take work, You know, it's not, it may not happen on itself. You got to actually bring the effort towards cleaning your DNA, okay? Because once you have the cleansed DNA, you can then come into remembrance of who we truly are, because you'll be in connection with Source once again, and you'll be able to astral project, you'll be able to travel the ether, you'll be able to telepathically communicate if you wanted to. You'll be able to attain to your supernatural abilities that are innate and very supernatural to each and every one of us, because they are very natural. They come with us because what you've been told about yourself, which is also distorting or misunderstanding of DNA, is completely wrong. They tell us that we're humans, but this is just a type of label that they're putting on us as an organism to keep us from really diving into who we truly are, or diving into our DNA, okay? And that's within that 99%. If we were to uncover the 99% of our DNA, we would understand that we're not from Earth, okay? We would understand all of the different alien beings that are our ancestral species. We would understand our past lives. We would understand a lot more, okay? Because we would then be in connection with Source. But they're programming this misunderstanding into people, and this is causing the disconnection to Source. And this is the spiritual warfare. They want as many people disconnected from Source as possible, because the more people that are disconnected from Source, the easier it is to continue to farm the people, okay? Continue to slaughter the people, continue to mutate the people, continue to control the people. And the more people that are in Source, the less control they would have over us, okay? Because then we would be God. We would be then able to remember exactly how easy it is to take back the power from the higher ups, you know. But that's it for today's video. I just wanted to help everybody understand a little bit more on how a misunderstanding of DNA is leading to the disconnection, how to pretty much understand the truth of your DNA, cleanse it from the distortion, how they're programming it into you as well, and how they're wrapping it into scientific movements and whatnot. But I do hope everybody did enjoy today's video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more daily content. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy. Drop a comment down, any information that you have to provide that will help me expand my information, please do so, okay? Generate some static electricity from the etheric body or the first layer of the aura as well. Peace out. Have a great morning and one love.